I have a response to a work for hire discussion, and I also have a question that is on a different topic. But it's, to my understanding, I'm still a student. I graduated in May, and some of the professors and working professionals in the room can probably answer the question better than I can. But it's to my understanding that the work for hire that is understood in a full-time employee situation is you have benefits, you have a whole package, and when you do work for hire in a freelance capacity, you don't have all of that. So letting someone take entire ownership of what you've made so that you can't even make claim to it in the future, I mean, you could say, I did it, but you can't really use it for anything else, is a bit more dangerous in a freelancing context.
But let me ask a question. If a local restaurant hired you to create their brand identity, their logo, their signage, their menus, who owns that logo? Who owns that signage? Who owns the menu design? At the end of that project, when you're paid and you've shaken hands and walked away.
Well, it belongs to the client.
That's work for hire. In our context, that's work for hire. And that's what the agreement is. That is a work for hire agreement. A work for hire agreement states that the intellectual property created by that creator has transferred all rights to that client. That's work for hire.
And the position that we've taken with is that the rights belong to the designer, who may give unconditional, extensive rights to the client. But ultimately, the design belongs to the designer. And I think that one of the real issues with work for hire is I believe that there is probably not enough knowledge about how to control your own intellectual property among the design profession. And they get put in situations where they're giving away the creative IP.
To these guys' point, it's about your appetite for risk. You know, they're willing to take some risk in taking some cost in order to try and keep some of the IP rather than being work for hire. You know, we all know the story of the girl that created Hello Kitty, which became a multi-billion-dollar industry, and she was just doing work for hire in her company. She wasn't involved in any of the risk. And the other end of the spectrum, there's entrepreneurs that go out there and say, I'm not going to make any money unless I can sell this through, and then I'm going to build my own brand from it. So it's really how much risk do you want to take? And it's about that balance.
Yes, and in terms of the crowdsourcing, and for you specifically about the CrowdSPRING, from my own experience, I've been very active in high school and throughout college on forums and internet culture. And one thing that I've seen is that a sort of pecking order comes about naturally, where there are the people that are really important and really good at things, and they're on the top, and the people that are kind of new and don't talk too much or whatever. I'm wondering if you see a similar kind of pecking order hierarchy that forms on CrowdSPRING, like there's someone always winning the prizes, or people who are always entering and almost winning every time. And if you could just speak a little bit about what relation that has to getting an entry-level job in a firm and working your way up, and what that experience is like digitally in terms of crowdsourcing.
I can't speak to how meaningful that is to get one of these guys to hire me, but I can speak to our community. So like so much in life, we're subject to our own versions of the 80-20 rule. And what we see is that 20% of the designers on the site are winning 80% of the projects. And that goes to a couple of things. That goes to the real talent, the cream rising to the top. They're just the best. But it also goes to some of them having certain skills and abilities for leveraging this model to their own advantage. So we have, for instance, a designer on the site who won over 120 projects last year in 2009. One guy. He won well over $30,000 in 1 year. You know what the average salary is, by the way, for graphic designers in the United States? $30,000. So I actually set up a call with him because I wanted to understand his secret sauce a little better. I wanted to know what he was doing to be so successful. And he does a couple of things. First of all, he looks at every project that's posted on the site, and he reads every single brief. And if it's something that is all speaks to him, is interesting to him from a creative problem-solving approach, he will submit one design, just one. If the buyer responds to that design, responds well, he will do one revision. And he said that his secret is in picking the right projects, the projects that really work for him, then picking the right buyers, the buyers who will give him the feedback that he needs, who will communicate with him. And finally, he said it's about style. He said to me, I happen to just be a really nice person. They like me. I communicate with them, I speak to them in ways they can understand. He said, you wouldn't believe how rude some designers on the site can be. And that makes a difference. So it's about the communication skills, it's about the ability to pick the winning projects, not just be a winning designer, but pick the right projects to work on. And it is about how he manages his time and his workflow.
Thank you.
You guys can speak to why.
I'm afraid that's going to have to be the last word. I want to thank everybody who was here. I feel very privileged to have been part of this. I didn't have to contribute anything, but I've learned a lot. I have different views about the subject that I can write that down. And application, I think that is going to find a